So, Pastor Dave Bryan here from Church of Glad Tidings in Yuba City, California, and from the Embassy of Heaven. And we have James Grundvig on. It's time to roar. And last week we talked about all kinds of exciting things. And we're going to just take that further and deeper here today. But let's start by this, James. Just give us just a wrap on just a few things you see coming down the pike that might make the next, let's say, the next 2 years pretty exciting.
Going to be very exciting. There is a race and an escalation. So Trump, what did President Trump say in his inauguration speech? My favorite line, and it's in a two-minute promo uh, clip of the 6G Babylon. What did he say? I want my legacy, which means at the end of the next 4 years, I want my legacy to be as a peacemaker and a unifier.
Yeah.
Well, if we look at today, the peacemaker he's doing an A+ job.
Oh
Unifier
my goodness.
is incomplete, so you can't vote on it. You can't give him an F. You can't give him an A. It's incomplete because we haven't seen how he's going to unify. But if some event is able to break through the sleeping masses, then I could see him being a great unifier, because then the Democrat and Republican Party fall away, the fake churches fall away,
Yeah.
and people will take their lives back to sovereign lives. They'll connect to God again through the heart and soul, right? They won't take it for granted. And then they realize they're put here for a very special reason. And you're going to see a mass awakening in that. Timing of it, who knows?
Yeah.
But I know President Trump is a super patriot,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
There's no president that's ever been as patriotic as him, in my opinion. What's next? July 4th, 2026, 250th
250. Exactly.
anniversary. And he says
And
celebration of the world. So for that to happen, you got to go through the gradual awakening. You got to go through the shock or shocks, plural shocks events or shock events, and then you're going to need 6 months to really help people through, because you're talking about people a lifetime of being programmed, brainwashed, conditioned, believing in things that are not real or not true.
right.
And they're going to need help. It's going to be a grieving process. You're going to have a month of real rage and anger, the bank run, violence on some things, not condoning any violence, but it's likely to go in that
Yep.
direction.
Likely, yeah.
That will burn itself out. And if it happens in October, it'll burn itself out by Thanksgiving. Then we're going to need real people that are ambassadors. What do I mean by this? Healing ambassadors. So should I go there? Sure, I should, because I should explain Babylon. I believe John F. Kennedy Jr. is alive, always has been alive, faked his death. And if you go watch
Yeah.
Babylon, there's a scene there in which I basically point in that direction. So
Right.
what better human being, the son of JFK was assassinated, to go out there and maybe with others who might be alive. You could speculate all day on what celebrities that are really known as good people, right? They're all victims of the cabal. They're all victims of the Luciferians. What
Right.
what better way to go out there and accelerate the healing than
Yeah.
people like John F. Kennedy Jr.? That's just my
Yeah.
opinion, right?
Yeah.
And imagine him and Bobby Kennedy together
Oh
talking
boy.
about great again, strong again, healthy again. I love this.
Honest again.
Honest
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
connecting with God again.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
think it's amazing, but at the same time, there is this threat right behind me. They're building this. They're building the scaffolding of all this.
Yeah.
Palantir is now, I think, going to bed with Israel. They're going to bring in drones into Gaza. Why? So mass surveillance.
Yeah.
What are they
Yeah.
really doing? Well, I'm learning that, of course, Gaza is going to be a 15-minute or smart city. That is
Right.
that is the that's the world's plan for Gaza, not for the Palestinian people,
Hmm.
right? That is the
Yeah.
plan for Gaza. Beachfront property, beautiful city. Oh, but you're going to be controlled by 6G and all this frequency manipulation and modulation, and they're
Yeah.
going to go. You're going to end up in a Chinese social credit system. You're going to go into a beast system if you go into a 15-minute city like that, and you're not going to have any rights at all.
Right.
And
So
go ahead.
let's talk about how that dovetails with the quantum computer and the brain interface and smartphones and that whole thing, because
So
now we're
quantum is different than AI, right?
yeah.
And quantum's either 5 or 10 years away from everyone I talk to, in
Mm,
theory. And so
okay.
quantum is going to be able to do insane calculations, like billions of them in a second, and it'll be able to crack any encryption standard that exists today.
Mm,
Literally,
mm.
quantum is going to be so accurate that the Torah, or the first 5 books in the Bible, is actually God's law. Now, could you imagine quantum computers taking all of God's laws, right? Taking Jesus Christ and his updated covenant, put it all in the quantum machine, and quantum machine will never be inaccurate. It'll always be accurate. What
Mm,
would be the use case for having lawyers in 10 years? None, zero. You wouldn't need them,
mm.
because quantum computers would act on the blockchain, would actually replace lawyers, because they would know law better than anyone. And speaking of lawyers, what has been the use of lawyers over the decades in America? Well, I learned something, Pastor Dave. I actually worked with a Californian engineer on a highway project back in the early 90s. And we got in a conversation about lawyers. And he says, James, you know what? I said, what? He says 75% of the trial lawyers in the state of California all went to acting school. And I'm like, you're kidding. He goes, no,
He's not kidding.
he's not kidding. 75%. Why? Because they need to convince the jury of the peers,
Wow.
right? They got to sway them emotionally, manipulate them
Right.
with language and spells. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of system where, if you had a super smart quantum computer holding law, there's no wiggle room. There's no acting.
Right.
Here's the law.
Right.
This is what it says. Here's the entire history of this. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And think of the issues of medicine and um, prescribing things. Think of even the more simple things that we used to look for professional help, for instance, to write a grant. And these days, you can go to Grok or one of these AI programs,
Yep.
and you can say, "Write me a grant for this, and tell me where I might find money for that grant." And in seconds, you have a professional quality, uh, a grant proposal that doesn't miss anything
No,
because
so
it's
it's funny.
AI.
There are a couple of AI startups that are actually focused only on legal, and they're replacing paralegals to begin with, because they're
Oh
they're
boy,
they're 1,000 times more efficient, they're much faster, all this stuff. Now,
yeah,
do you go back and check their stuff? Absolutely. You can't trust 100%, because even today's computers get things wrong. But
yeah,
the change is going to happen rapidly. And it's the white collars, not the blue collars, that are going to lose jobs. And one of the great fears that are out there is 71% of the young workers in the United States are scared that their degree and their experience and their education is not going to help them, that they're going to be eventually replaced by AI or displaced by AI.
yeah.
So
Well, I would say that in terms of modern education, that they were never prepared to to do much productively in society anyway,
yeah.
right? They've been just wasting time and running up big bills for their parents, but it is really something to think about, the world of the future. Now, when I was talking to our friend James Martinez a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the plans for COVID, and people that don't see the big picture have
Mhm.
trouble believing that anybody would try to have some kind of a nefarious plan that would kill some people and leave other people in jeopardy of being controlled. And, the simple truth is, if you turn back the clock to when America was happily sleeping in the light and impervious to any evil that was just under the surface, they put up in Georgia the the Ten Commandments of the New World Order. And the first one on the list in 6 different international languages said that the perpetrators of this new global world order, their number one agenda is to maintain the world population at 600 million, which of course is 0.6 billion, which
Yep.
is 8 billion people less than we have today. And so, on the one hand, you have people thinking, oh, why would anyone harm us? On the other hand, you see the elites of the world uh, boldly proclaiming, we're going to eliminate almost everybody. And the ones that won't be eliminated will be completely controlled, which of course brings us to 6G and the implants and the the smart tattoos and all that kind of carrying on.
Yeah, right. The brain computer interface, the BCI, I'm sure James Martinez covered that, right? All these things. But basically, they're building a bridge from human now 1.0 to transhuman 2.0. This is
Right,
post-human. This is the world. And they're only going to keep around humans until they don't need them anymore. If they got
right,
you got synthetic people, literally cyborgs or things like it,
right,
they're not going to need humans. They're going to their plan is to destroy God's seed,
right. Exactly.
right?
Right.
They've already, the 3 laws of the universe are what? Love, free will, justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
They're taken
free,
away.
free will, free will disappeared the last 6 years, or probably longer. Certainly, there's no justice the last 6 years, and this is why some people are kind of angry with Donald Trump. Like, you're taking too long. I get it, but it's they have information we do not have, but it has taken too long. You had all this momentum in the first month under Doge or Doggy, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
had that incredible exposure of the entire corruption of the financial systems.
Right.
Our government, there were 12 computers doing nothing but printing money every day,
Yeah. Wow.
24/7. And no
Wow.
one knows where the money went. It's just
Yeah.
printing out the door. So
Yeah.
it was worse than a Ponzi scheme.
Right. Way worse. Yeah.
Far worse, because the money was being used against the people of the world.
Right.
And again, as Pastor Dave, as you laid out, right? People like, why would anyone want to hurt us? Because they're Luciferians. They
Right.
believe in the anti-God.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want, right, the useless eaters, as Klaus Schwab used to call them, right?
Exactly. Right.
They're poisoning us. They're chemtrailing the skies with poisons.
Yeah.
Right? They're land grabs. They're burning Palisades. They're burning Lahaina in Maui. Right? They
Right.
Panhandle in Texas. They burned a smart city down in what do you call it, Chile. They had the Hurricane Ian in September of 2022, doing what? Destroying Fort Myers, another smart city. I mean, it's unbelievable. But wherever the smart city is, including Gaza, they have to get the people out. They're not buying people out. You need to understand this. They're not like offering you eminent domain. They're not going through the courts. They're taking the land by force. Whether
Right.
it's weather warfare, manipulated storms, whether it's by directed energy weapons, whether it's by starting fires, however they're doing, they're literally destroying the homes and residents of people. And then the city comes in saying, "Oh, this property is a hazard," right? And then they're coming, the bank coming in and offering pennies and a dollar on the property,
Right. Right.
right? Just because you're not going to rebuild anymore. You're not going to, insurance doesn't cover it. So this
Yeah.
whole thing is a complete scam, and people do not understand. So Gaza is a much bigger event that's absolutely along the same lines,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Right. Well, we're living in unprecedented times, that's for sure. And
Totally.
the the same old is going away. So almost everybody recognizes that. And so what's happening is the divide is going toward people who are overwhelmed with hopelessness and fear, and
Yep.
those people that understand that God wins. By definition, God wins. He's the
Totally.
Almighty One, the Creator. And so we look forward to a heaven and earth wherein dwells only righteousness and are excited about it. But one thing is for sure that the big messy middle is going away. And increasingly, the sub themes don't matter. Increasingly, it's righteousness versus evil, hard stop. Nothing else to talk about. Uh,
Correct.
yeah, and it's interesting that you have elements of every system that are going each way, right? So education isn't necessarily evil, but the way it's been manipulated in America has been evil, and
Yep.
so we see all what some people have called the mountains of influence, but we see medicine. Is medicine evil? Well, it's certainly been used for evil.
It's
It's
been
been
weaponized.
it's been
I think
weaponized.
everything's been weaponized against us. And when
Yes.
people actually wake up to it, and they're going to get however whatever the event's going to do to break through the brain fog, right? The collective
Yeah.
of the sleeping masses, whatever the event is, it's going to shatter all of their belief systems, core belief systems in government. Government's there to protect you. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Right? Even the law enforcement, the police work for the corporation, the Babylon
Right.
corporation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The idea of government serving the people is so far removed that very few people in the government even have an inkling that that's what they're supposed to be trying to do. I'll
Correct.
give I'll give you an example, James. You know that we did recently a fundraiser, and just as human beings, regardless of your religious preference, just as sentient beings, the idea of molesting children should be abhorrent. If you have any a modicum of conscience, that should just be abhorrent to you. And
Correct.
so here we're trying to rescue the children. And we raised $4 million to get this facility. And we're in a little community called Live Oak. And so we're really excited. We've raised the money and we go to talk to the county. And they're saying, well, we don't know if we're going to let you do that or not. We've changed the zoning, and we don't know if this is a good fit. And I remember talking to one of the guys, the city planner in that setting, and I said, "Can I ask a personal question? Do you even care that kids are being raped to death? Does that ever come up on your radar screen there that maybe you could help keep that from happening to kids?" And his response was, "Oh, of course I do. Don't try to put that on me. We just want to make sure that all of the bureaucracy works." And I remember telling him, I said, "You know what you sound like? You sound like a guy that if there was a kid being molested on the other side of the highway and I ran over there and intervened, you'd try to tell me how many violations there were because there was no crosswalk, and you should be minding your own business, and right, you just on and on and on, instead of saying thank God somebody cares enough to save a kid." But I think we're
Part of the problem, like all agencies in the Western governments, plural, not just the United States, have been infiltrated by MK Ultra, infiltrated by Luciferians, and a lot of them are working are pedophiles. So even the police
yeah,
station, not all
yeah,
police stations, but many of them, they're closeted pedophiles that work police
right,
stations. Of course, they're not
right,
going to investigate children
right,
rape because they're part of it. And
right.
this is why we have to have the military the old his expression, the only way, well, it's true. You're going to have to go back to military law to turn things around, to really get to the bottom of it. We're never getting to the bottom of it, right? You can't do
Yeah,
it through court systems that exist today. Can't do it through law enforcement that exists today. It all has to come down. And then
right,
so what's going to happen to people, not Trump, the people are going to be involved in the great reset. The people are going to do the reset once the truth comes out. That's
right.
what's changed.
Yeah, that's the way it has to happen. If we'd have done it right, it would have always been that way.
Correct.
We, the people, would have held the greater magistrates accountable and reminded them that they're servants of the people. We would have never allowed them to pass laws for their own aggrandizement and protection. Right? We've just allowed them to spin off this big, stupid, ugly, inefficient bureaucracy that is not even remotely connected to the vision of our forefathers. And I'm with you in terms of thinking that it's too little too late. We've gone too far to gradually make changes. We need the kind of boys that'll go out on the boats and throw the tea in the sea, right?
We
I
do.
mean, that's what we need. We have gubernatorial election here in California coming up, and I think there's 13 or 15 guys running for it. And, four or five of them are personal friends of mine. But I'm looking for somebody that will shuck it down to the cob and get radical. And, we wouldn't be where we are today with a good man in the White House if he was moderate. And what we
Correct.
need right now, we need radical. We need somebody. We need Donald Trump. We need somebody that doesn't really care how the bad guys feel about it. He's going to do the right thing, whether you like it or not. And instead of looking for ways to placate the populace, he is looking for ways to fix the problems, even if those solutions are radical. I think we need that in every state in the union. And
I'm
so,
in agreement with you. I read today that Mira Bass of LA, Los Angeles,
yeah,
she's now been caught with $1 million plus donations from two Chinese nationals,
doesn't surprise me at
which
all.
against all election rules and everything else. So,
Right.
she might be bribed or certainly a controlled asset for the Communist Party in China.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, but it's all coming out.
Yep. Yeah. It's all coming out. So, we're gonna lay out some of the things that are about to come out. I think it will be a fun thing to do. One thing's for sure, same old ain't in the forecast for tomorrow. It's too little too late. We've gone way too far down the road to just have mild changes. And so there's going to be some radical upheaval, but we're going to take a break here and come back for another section with James Grundvig, and we're going to be talking about, of course, we neither James or I claim to know the future, but we have some pretty good indications of things that are just about to break, and they're really, really exciting. Because James, I think everybody is tired of same old, right? It's
Oh,
like,
the process for us who are awake has really dragged on. I expected whatever to happen this summer. It did not, right? Summer's over. And again, now knowing that they got this very public kind of grilling of the Russiagate traitors from 2016 and 17, no less. We got to go back in time and visit them. I guess
yeah,
we are all collectively learn a lot, but it's really not meant for us directly. It's really meant for the normies, people sleep to wake up as many as they can before a big event happens. That's what
yeah.
I believe.
And the big event is around the corner. I know everybody's tired of waiting, but hey, we're closer every minute. So we want to thank you for joining us, and tune in next week as we talk with James Grundvig about the things that are they're already cooked up. They're about to be served.
Connecting the dots right behind me. See that?
and-
We're going to connect the dots in the next show.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So wherever you are, remember, it is not time to be passive. It's time to show up in the showdown and throw down. Time to roar. We'll see you next time.